Welcome back to a new video. So in this video, I should say, not just one training session, but it is two, because Friday was really light. So just did some presses, a little bit of rows. I figured I'd throw it at the beginning of this video since it would be a really short one. And I kind of thought about just not posting it all, but I don't know, I've been pretty consistent with showing all of my workouts. And this is one that is not a super difficult or heavy one or very long workout, but it is one where I did a little bit of work with it. The Saturday one, the day after, was one where I did a lot more work, and I was able to do a similar workout as the last Saturday. And I also noticed something, and it's one of the reasons that I like to record from the front. I think I've mentioned this before, but you can see the balance of the bar and how it moves and stuff like that. And one thing I was noticing, and you might not be able to notice it during the clips at full speed, but if you're crazy enough to slow it down, you might be able to notice it. But I was doing that while I was editing this video and had done it in a couple others when I've had that front angle. But I'm looking at, as my pull goes past my knees, my right leg kind of moves in more than my left. So I kind of started with my knees out. So like right before I start to pull it off the ground, my knees are kind of pushing against my arms, I guess slightly. And so when I start to pull, once I get past my knees, both of my legs come in a little bit, which kind of makes sense if they're out maybe a little bit too far. What would be the normal or the optimal angle for my body to pull from. But that little bit of movement is more exaggerated on the right side than the left, which I think is a remnant of the hip injury from the summer. And it hasn't really impacted my ability to do cleans or pulls or anything like that. Like I don't feel that area of my body when I'm doing any lifts, but I was noticing it on even the muscle snatches. And I think that's why the right side, when I pull, the bar is dipped down on my right side a little bit because the weight is shifting over to my left side, which is stronger, and ironically making it worse for my left arm. So it's something that I was trying to just correct through brute force of just trying to pull more with my right arm. But I realized, kind of looking at just the clips of it as I got heavier, I was like, that right leg looks kind of different than my left leg. And part of that could be the knee wraps or the exact angle of the camera, but I do think there is a slight difference with how much movement in there is on the one side, which of course is not ideal. So the first thing I've tried to do to fix it, because I was noticing it during the session, was just trying to keep my knees out. And then as the weights gets heavier, you think less about that and just try to do the lift the best you can. But what I think is going to be the most beneficial, because I actually noticed, so I watched it during the pull of both my snatch pulls and snatches and and cleans, and I noticed the same kind of phenomenon happening on the pulling portion. But when I was standing up the weight, it wasn't doing that. Other than maybe the last clean and jerk with 145, I noticed a little bit, but that was more, I think, just general weight. But it wasn't like my hips were like shifting or doing anything really weird, and my knees were staying in a pretty normal or like in the same position on the stand up, other than on some of like that snatch there where it's difficult. But like that's more of the bar not being balanced versus a hip shift or something like that. But it was very interesting to see that. And what that kind of tells me is that I obviously don't need to stop lifting. I don't have like pain or discomfort, but that is something to work on through mobility work, but also through additional accessory work, and that accessory work being things that can work on hip abduction and adduction and kind of just work in that motion a little bit to continue to strengthen that area. I think something else that would help as well is generally stretching, but trying to do some work for my lower back, because my right side of my lower back it doesn't really hurt or anything like that, but I just kind of feel more hypertrophy in there when I'm generally training. Like that low back pump is more isolated on the right side, which if you know what that pump feels like from lifting, you kind of know what I'm talking about. And usually, that would generally be on both sides of my back, but if I do get that, it is on the right side more so. But it is something that is an interesting thing that I was noticing with recording this angle, because I won't always record directly on my lifting. It's something I won't be able to assess every single time that I lift. But you know, being able to see it is useful because then I have something to work on, something to feel, and mobility work that can be more targeted to things and not just, you know, general stretching, but more things that will specifically benefit me. But besides the movement stuff that I figured out, I'll give a quick little rundown of the workout. So with snatches, able to get up to 115, and for the clean and jerk, get up to 145 that you're seeing here, or at least you might be, because now that I've gone through this portion of the video, I had some editing errors, so my commentary might not be directly lined up, but did the 145, then moved on to doing some front squats. I missed 175 the first time, and I actually intentionally recorded from the side angle so I could see the position of my back. And on the first one that I missed, it wasn't so much the positional breakdown, like I wasn't pitching forward too super far, but my left side probably was a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell from that angle because the bar was slipping down on my left side. I don't think it was necessarily an issue with like chalk or anything like that. I think my left side just kind of drooped down a little bit, and then the bar started to slip, and then once that momentum's there, it's hard to correct for that in that middle of the lift. And really I was like at the top portion of the front squat. That's why it looks like I was like basically done, and then I just drop it almost seemingly randomly, but the bar was slipping down, and I came back and was able to make it, so I'm happy about that. And I would like that weight, that 175, to be similar to that 200 kilos, like a heavy weight, but one that I can do every single time that I go heavy in the front squat, just like a routine weight. And obviously in the future more, but like for a normal session, like just get up to 175 and then do some drop sets. After that, I was actually able to do 5 kilos more than last week with the deadlift, and I was able to get up to 285, I believe. I was very pleasantly surprised at how that felt, but I think one of the big reasons why it felt better is I just used straps this week. I left my thumb tape at the house, so I didn't do them with a hook grip, and I probably just won't bother really because I'm not going to do a powerlifting competition or anything, so there's not really much of a purpose of me doing extremely heavy deadlifts with a hook grip other than just kind of just say that I can. But I don't know. I don't really have a goal with the deadlift. If I can, you know, get up to doing like 290 each week, I think that would be really cool. But it's not really a super important thing. I just want to hit a couple deadlifts on this Saturday just to kind of put together a total. I then did some bench press after that, and I was able to get up to 110 for a double. And it wasn't the most comfortable feeling thing. I was feeling my left shoulder a little bit, but nothing that was like debilitating or really, you know, extremely uncomfortable. And I think just, you know, I'm not worried about going heavy in the bench press, just trying to get some upper body work, and doing the hypertrophy earlier in the week I think will be better, like just higher reps with the bench press, and not focused on, you know, getting up to that other than on a day like this. But yeah, I apologize if there's a lot of blank space at the end. I still have some clips to edit, but I had those thoughts about the movements that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't want to forget about them or just let them percolate any longer. Just kind of wanted to talk about that. So if you made it this far, appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for this one. I'll talk to you on the next video, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.